Okay, I'm assuming you have a Webflow account already. If not, just sign up. This is free. Publishing your website on a on a Webflow domain, something.webflow.io, is completely free. When you need to connect your own your name.com or something dot your brand name.com domain, only then you need to pay for hosting. Actually, since payment came up, a lot of people say it costs $16 a month or $144 a year to use Webflow, and they, they say, oh, you shouldn't I just like write code and build it myself, or try to use another solution that costs less, that costs me $5 a month instead of $16 a month. So you want to try to think of the concept of time value of money, and you want to, and this requires, the prerequisite is you should know your own time value of money. Like, how much are you worth per hour? Are you worth $10 per hour? Are you worth $100 an hour? Let's assume you're worth $100 an hour just for the sake of illustration. Now, what that means is if Webflow 16, it costs you, uh, I think the yearly plan costs you $144 a year. So that's $144 for 12 months, by the way, like if you take the yearly plan. And if your hourly rate is $100, that means that Webflow saves you like an hour and a half in one whole year in maintaining and building this blog or website versus any other method of doing it, like using a cheaper tool that might require you to do more setup, or maybe doesn't have as many templates, or hosting it and setting up the host, or maybe every time you need to update the website you need to deploy it somewhere, uh, or you need to connect CMS, or you need to do extra work to set up SEO, technical SEO. If you spend more than 1.5 hours in the whole year doing that, whole year, not one day, then Webflow is cheaper because your time value is worth more. And this is the primary reason why I tell people to use Webflow. Now, why Webflow versus another simpler website builder? I'm a big fan of tools that act as an empty canvas. So, what does an empty canvas mean? It means I can paint however I want, and the tool tries to be as less limiting as possible. That's why I use Figma instead of Canva. Canva is not a bad software at all, but if you know how to paint on a canvas, you can't go to Canva, which is a constrained canvas. It has way more rules, it has way more limitations, and it works better for people who need standardized, structured kind of content creation and don't want to build on an empty canvas every time. But I feel like once you know how to wield around an empty canvas like this, it's hard to go back. It's hard to give up this freedom of being able to build anything that you imagine. And therefore, Webflow is like Figma, but for building websites. Uh, I mean, I use that analogy. It doesn't have the same interface and all, but it comes really close in terms of flexibility. So let's get started.